Where's what?
The tightening boy.
On the front.
What? The tiny
In the
boy?
very front.
The tightening.
On the front.
On
I
the
heard
front.
tiny boy.
Manual.
Where's the tiny boy?
Did you lose your
What?
tiny boy?
Oh my god.
It's that kind of podcast. Oh, wow.
Thank you guys for watching this video. If this is your first time watching, welcome to Modify with Trick Factory Customs. We're a custom automotive shop here in Coquitlam, BC. And we build really cool, awesome cars, like some of the cars you see behind us. If it's in the picture, I don't know. But
Well, we like to think so.
yes. And we just talk about cars. We love talking about cars. We also love talking all the time. And so we just decided to create a podcast where we can talk about cars. So yeah. So with that said, if you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you can also watch us on YouTube at Trick Factory Customs. And yeah, with that said, we're gonna get started. But before we get started, I'm just gonna kind of just tell you guys what we're talking about today, which is on the topic of social media marketing or just social media in general and the importance it plays in the automotive or the custom automotive community or custom automotive world. But before we dive into all of that stuff, let's just introduce ourselves. So my name is Elvis.
I'm Rob.
Tim.
Sarah.
And I'm Teddy.
Awesome. And if you guys have not seen Teddy before, he's huge into a lot of the things with social media and all of that stuff. So with that said, let us get started. What have you guys been up to all week?
Oh.
Sounds like he wants to go.
I know. Like,
This week we actually went and retrieved a couple of barn find Corvettes and drug all that back. So that was a bit of an adventure. And
Yeah,
then
super cool.
now just processing everything to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Got 2 complete cars, but I think we have enough parts to build 5.
I think so.
For real. Yeah.
So that was a bit of an undertaking. So we're still just trying to process that. And that's more or less been my week. So
Yeah. It's always someone's dream to find the barn find of a lifetime. And I think maybe not of a lifetime, but just a barn find, a legitimate barn find.
Yeah, because you'd almost imagine that these types of things don't happen that much
No.
anymore, right? Because
No.
like there's people that have made a career like just doing that very thing. So this one came across us and we had to just jump right on it. And it was a pretty awesome find, pretty exciting. I can't wait to see all the wonderful things that Tim finds in his breaking it down kind of thing.
There was a lot
How
of
did
boxes.
you find it?
Wait for the video.
yeah.
Wait for the video.
There's a video.
So the video is coming out probably the first week of November if you're listening to this, depending on whatever time you're listening to it. But yes,
Yeah. So our intent is to document this entire thing right from the beginning, and maybe one of these will turn into a shop build. So there could be a whole another sort of spin-off series. But right now we're still, it caused a bit of a frenzy. So I don't know which way we're going to go yet, because we have people offering to take it as a whole package. We have people offering to do builds. We might just make them work and send them on their way. So it's right now it's kind of up in the air. So we'll see how it evolves.
Is
yeah.
this your first barn find?
No, we get offered stuff all the time, but nothing to this sort of magnitude. Like this one's pretty crazy. Like even in the first trip, it was a car and the van full to the roof of parts.
Yeah.
And then this guy was like legit Corvette crazy, like to another level. So in the videos, you'll get to see just like he lived very modestly, almost I would say like a homeless person, except the Corvette aspect of his life was like a doctor's office.
Mind blowing.
Like it's insane. Like he had partitioned that part of his life, and it was crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty meticulous. It was like super admirable to see how this gentleman like even just stored all the things that he was collecting. Like when you first walked into the place, you'd just see like all these custom cabinets and everything that he'd made. And then as soon as you cracked the doors on those, it just opened up this whole world of parts. It was like
Disneyland.
like an extravaganza.
Like I've seen the one of the Corvettes in person, and it's like, it's mint.
Yes.
So it's pretty exciting to see what you guys are gonna
Yeah.
do with it all.
So if we do decide to do something with that, it would be like one of those legitimate Survivor type builds.
That would be
Like
pretty
it's,
awesome.
it's pretty.
So
awesome.
we're not making anyone a wide body, not cutting up
No wide body.
anyone.
Corvettes.
Come on.
Well,
Not your turn yet.
there's still room for conversation.
Yeah.
So let's
Oh, okay,
we'll dig
okay.
into that.
Yeah,
You're gonna
yeah,
have
yeah.
to follow along and see how that sort of plays out.
Yeah. So I guess that applies to kind of like three of us because we went on the journey. But what about you, Sarah?
We had a Testarossa come in,
Ooh.
so I guess we're restoring the interior of that.
When you say Testarossa, Ferrari Testarossa, right?
Not a Fiero test.
Is
Not
there-
a Fiero.
Honestly, I wasn't aware there was another one.
No, there's some janky fake one sometimes.
More
Like,
fake ones than there is real ones.
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
So I guess the customer wants it back to original. So Greg's been taking apart the interior, and I'm just rewrapping panels and kind of sorting that out, putting new carpet in it.
So it's a full interior.
No, just
okay.
a refresh. Just
Okay.
to clean it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just remove any signs of wear and tear, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So I just started on that yesterday, and that's what I got going on.
It's a pretty.
No big deal.
And then so
I know, right?
Oh yeah.
No
So
big
just that, I don't know, nothing else. No. And a couple of little things here and there for other customers that weren't really as interesting as that.
Weird color combo, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it?
It's like cream and red and black. Just leave it peanut butter, and then you're good.
Yeah, I guess peanut butter is
Should be.
honestly the best combo for a red Ferrari.
Red
I
with
think.
peanut butter, that's the most
Classic.
iconic combination ever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and
Sweet.
for a company that's so against people modifying it, why do they let people?
I know.
spec
I'm
it out
surprised
so
they actually
ugly?
let him spec it out.
Yeah, you can spec an ugly car from them, but you can't make it ugly on your own, and you got to pay extra.
Yeah.
That's genius. That's marketing right
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Teddy?
Oh man, my week's been a little bit hectic. So I'm big onto the four-wheeling community, and I have a lifted 2020 Jeep Gladiator, 6-speed manual.
Oh, it's a manual. I didn't know it was a manual.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's one of the coolest things about it. Except, been having some transmission problems.
Oh no.
And it's gone to the point now where, and this is like a spoiler alert. I haven't mentioned anything on my social media or anything like that, but it looks like I might be getting a different vehicle.
Oh.
Yeah. You guys are the first.
Any
to know.
any hints as to what it might be? Or we want to?
I'll tell you guys. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be a 2022 Gladiator in the Eco Diesel
Diesel.
platform. So it's going to be an 8-speed automatic transmission. They don't
Sad.
come with a manual.
No
I
manual.
know. It's gone. But I do believe that transmission for what we do, it wasn't strong enough. The clutch is really light. But you can modify you get a new clutch and so on. And people have had great success with it. So it's either go that route, which I still might do, and modify it more, or get the diesel. The diesel is to be discontinued in 2023.
Interesting.
So
Really?
it's kind of your last chance to get a diesel Jeep. I don't think they're ever going to make another diesel Jeep the way things are going. So
Electrify all of them.
everything's going to be electrified or some sort of hybrid, and so it's sort of my last chance to get a diesel Jeep. I think I got to jump on it. Looks like it's going to happen. But yeah. That's
Awesome.
my week.
So I feel like social media has become a huge part of our lives. But we just want to talk about specifically what it has become or how important it has become as a shop or as a social media / content creator. You've been in the business, in the automotive, custom automotive business, not just automotive, but because you guys used to build bikes before. And so how has that changed with the introduction of social media?
Well, we were talking about it briefly earlier. Like back in the day, our life was pretty much ruled by making it to one event or show or another. So we used to have to travel a lot. So we would build a bike, go to a bunch of events, show everybody, and then it was like all email and feedback from there. And then you're trying to chase and get in magazines and all this kind of stuff to get yourself featured so that you could gain that exposure. And but you'd almost have to like meet all these different criteria so that they would take you on, and then they'd put you in a magazine and put it out, and then you'd wait for it to come back. Whereas now we have more control of that. Plus we have more time in the shop. And then we can add all the other layers into it and show them how it's done and how long it takes and all this type of stuff. So it's definitely been a benefit, but at the same time, it's it's a whole nother thing. Like it's all part of business that we never thought we'd need to learn. Like I think we mentioned in the last podcast, I never thought I'd be doing a podcast. Like, that was never a part of the thing. We were just in the shop just making sparks and, you know, getting wild. And now it's like, in order to do all these things, it's like if you don't do it, you don't exist.
Yep.
So it brings a certain amount of legitimacy to you by making sure you have all these things. And it's an easy thing. Like I got hit up at a gas station the other night, like, hey man, it's, you know, so it's like, here's my social media. And then right away, it's like you're fast friends. So it's like an easy way to, you know, give somebody a window into your life right away. Cause like, oh, this is crazy. Who are you? I'm this guy. Check it out. And then away it goes.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that before. Like you would have to try to go to some show and shine and stand there and try to convince some old guy that, you know, you could trust me to do your thing. Whereas now they can look and see 2-3 years of what you've been up to.
Yeah.
So it's pretty wild.
So I started a YouTube channel to do, actually originally it was to do some boxing stuff, but it quickly transferred over to off-roading and wheeling, adventuring, that sort of thing. The social media in a whole, especially these days, especially after, can we say COVID?
Yeah. Nah, sorry. No, not allowed to. Censored words.
Their channel.
Yeah, I'll just censor it. Boop.
Yeah, exactly. Or especially, you know, when everybody was locked down.
Say it again.
COVID?
Just one time for Sarah.
Yeah.
Especially. Perfect.
Stop it.
You don't like especially?
It's fine.
That's your word. Okay.
No,
Okay.
this is old news.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's everybody has been on their screens, I guess, more so than going out. Now it's opening up quite a bit more, but you know, it kind of got planted in my head that if you weren't on social media as a business or even as a person at that time, you basically don't exist, especially as a business. Nobody uses yellow pages anymore, right? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna Google whatever it is that you're looking for, and then you're gonna find their social media most likely, or their website, which again is pretty obsolete now, a website, and you're gonna see what they've done. And of course, social media is the best that you've done, right? So, and everybody does the same thing, and that's what you see. So in particular, like for what I'm doing with all these adventures is very much the same. It's, you know, I used to sit there and scroll through people's Instagrams and being like, well, that's crazy. Look at the places they've been. And it's like a Tuesday and they're up on a mountain, which obviously isn't the case, but that's how you see it. And it's like, how did don't these people work? Like, how is this happening? And, but it gives you a good idea. Is like, it's basically my job to show everybody like where you can go, how, like the places you can see, and locally too. Like you don't have to go that far to see some pretty incredible places. And it just gives you, like I said, without that, it's almost like you don't exist anymore. You know, like I'll see things, and I'm sure you guys can attest, where you see a friend that you haven't seen in a while, but they've checked up on your social media and they'll say, oh, I saw that you went here or whatever. How was that? Or, you know, in your case, I saw you guys build this. Like, I have questions about it. Whereas if you don't post anything, it's almost like, what do you talk
get
to?
concerned.
Yeah.
Which is a sad reality, right? Before you'd call your friend and be like, hey, how's it going? Tell me
You
your
check
story.
social media first.
Right, now you check social media as you're scrolling, and it's like, but again, even that brings up more phone calls, right? Like somebody will see something and phone and be like, hey, I saw you went over here. How do you get there? And then I say, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
A lot of people knew who I was like only through Facebook, like because I had been on Facebook for so long, and because I was in the motorcycle industry before, I'd collected a lot of people through that, and then I could show my work through that and show that I had left motorcycle industry and this is what I was doing and I was learning this, and like as the projects I was doing were getting better and bigger, and then also being associated with Trick Factory, then it started to grow through that. But then to start an Instagram from nothing, when I don't really have a lot of experience with Instagram, because my own personal Instagram was just like
Cat videos.
It's worth a follow. You
The
should look
bread.
at it.
I know you started a bread one.
what is it?
Didn't you have a bread
Milk and
Instagram or
toast.
something? Toast.
Yeah, toast.
I knew it was
no,
toast.
no, those are just jokes. That's not. Oh, come on.
Okay.
There was a lot of, I have a few different Instagram accounts actually, but I mean like mine, that's like Sarah,
Yeah,
right? And that's just like not for like getting famous or like showing any work. This is just like me and my kid and like my garden and like just normal life stuff. So there's like a normal amount of followers, right? Yeah. So then to have like, and I didn't really care about being like building some huge Instagram just for like me and my life. So then I start a business one, and it's like, okay, well, how do you actually do that if that's what your goal is? Because now my objective has changed because it's a business account. So I don't know. It's been a few years of kind of hit and miss.
Yeah.
On my own, right? But then through Facebook, it was like Facebook's kind of like not really like the platform I think that people really. Well, my kid called me a boomer because I use Facebook. I'm not a boomer. I'm not even 40. Come on.
That's the other part of it. But it's interesting because like even like big companies, like one of my biggest companies that sponsored me reached out through Instagram.
Yeah.
So it's like, it goes to show you how powerful social media is today's day and age. And I'm a small, fairly small, person in the social media world, and this is a very, very big company. So it was
I think a lot of it's transition though, because before when it was like garnering a huge number of followers, but now you're starting to see like even massive corporations, they don't have a huge followings anymore because it's so hard to build it the way it was. So now you have smaller followings, but it's a much more targeted audience. So you see a lot of these guys with big useless accounts and their engagement is almost zero.
Yes.
And then you'll have somebody like us where it's like our following based on that is like not huge, but like we have a very dedicated core group of people. And then when you think about that, it's like 20,000 people. That's a tremendous amount of people.
Like imagine 20,000 people in this area.
And for us, like our amount of engagement is pretty crazy. And then even if 1% of that says, hey, I want to come and get work done, like we can't do it. We're already too busy. So it's like there's a balance, like a tipping point. Like, so it's like these, now you can get hyper focused sort of followers that are, and it's valuable to these big companies because it's like they know that you have 10,000 people religiously dedicated to what you're putting out. So and they can see it and they can track it. There's analytics. It's a pretty easy sell now. So it's a really important business tool. And like we were talking earlier, me and Ted amongst ourselves, it's like now we make more money on the savings than we do, you know what I mean? Like we have opportunity to save money. And then we almost make as much that as trying to do the work and get it out the door. So we're making money before we're done.
Yeah.
Because we do have opportunity for people to help us out with these projects and they want to help based on our following. So
I've actually got a good example of that. That just happened recently. So I'm getting a new Jeep most likely. And there's a panel that I need for the Jeep. Nobody makes one that looks stock, right? Or OEM. Everything is, you got to mount it to the dash or something. There is a company that does make that makes it look stock.
Okay.
So I reached out to them. It's a $700 part. And I said, hey, I'm doing this build. And of course, it took them a couple of days to get back to me. Sure enough, they're sending the part for me to use.
Oh, shoot.
Obviously, because again, what Tim was saying is it's a very targeted audience, right? This part is made for a Jeep that goes off-roading, that needs this piece. That's what I'm showing people. It's worth it to them to do it. For me to buy it, $700. That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
it's more than I make in a day. So.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what it is now these days too. But for the part that they're giving you, like, did they do like an audit? Because I know for your Evo, whenever you were getting parts for it,
initially went out for sponsorship, and that was the first that I became aware of it. Is like we reached out for sponsorship on different stuff, and a couple of those companies actually returned social media audits to me, where it's like, okay, you have this much, and then a couple of other people that I was associated with at the time is like, okay, you have this much and you have this much engagement, which is crazy. Our engagement at the time, I don't know what it was like 20%, which is like off the charts for Instagram. And then you have somebody that has 10 times the following of me, and they have like 1% engagement. So like right away, it's like, even though my account's smaller, it has a lot more value to them. So they're like, okay, based on this, yes, you can have this. And then it was like, that was my first sort of insight to that. And now when we're reaching out for sponsorship, it's important. You can audit yourself and send it and be like, this is how many followers I have. This is what my engagement it is. And this is what you can expect to see. So then it shows your value as well. So if you can do that, the sponsorship is a whole nother topic. But I mean, if you provide all that information up front, getting sponsorship is a lot easier then.
Yeah.
So
You help them do their job, by providing that information for them, it definitely helps, right?
Yeah,
So.
that's pretty awesome. And regarding content creation, there's a difference between being a content creator full-time versus operating a shop.
Right.
And so, yeah, kind of like you guys should talk us through that a little bit.
Well, that's sort of the biggest thing. Like the more we delved into doing social media and doing the YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff and giving that window into what we do, it's the disconnect is they think we're doing it solely for that. But we're kind of unique. Like a lot of the people that you follow that have massive YouTube accounts, like that's what they do.
That's what they do full-time.
Full-time.
Yes.
They're content creators. They're not car builders. They're not a business like where we are. So like a lot of the things that happen with us is we're a functioning business, like a real business. We need to make money. And then we are subject to all the sort of challenges that everybody else is right now, like supply chain issues. So like we'll get rolling on a car and then, dead end, waiting for parts. We got to set that aside, move on to something else. So we may have 2 or 3 things on the floor that we can't even work on until we get parts. So then we got to start something new.
Yep.
So of course we jump it off with a video and give everybody an introduction like, hey, we're doing this. And then in the interim, we might have to go back to the first thing. So we don't have the workflow that a lot of these content creators are, because they'll do it in advance and then release it once
Like
it's finished.
episodic, yeah.
Yeah, so then it's easier. And then I think that's the disconnect is people think we're like that, which ideally we'd love to have that workflow. But it doesn't
However,
work out.
no.
Like,
Yeah.
and even there's projects in the shop that don't necessarily garner YouTube attention. So we might have 5 other things on the go that aren't YouTube worthy or we may not find of interest, but we have to do in order to pay our bills.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the disconnect. Whereas getting into that other side of it, like we may transition to that point. Like ideally, I'd love to just build cool just for people to see, but
Yeah.
we're not quite there yet. So right now, that's a major one, and we have people comment like, "Oh man, you guys can't stay focused on."
Yeah, I was about to talk about that because we got some comments. I was like, "Oh, you guys keep diving from build to build," and and so it was.
And then right away, I responded with like, "Hey, just so you know, first and foremost, we're a business, and we have to do what we need to do when we can do it. Second, we're just giving you opportunity to see what we do, but we're not content creators, so this is why." We got to bounce around and do what we have to do.
Yeah, and
we got bills.
Even with your car, Rob, you're building the 280Z Datsun.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I feel like there was a time we were releasing a few episodes here and there.
Yeah.
But after a while, it's like, oh, we have to do other things. Like we have there's a shop to run, and we can't focus on our cars first.
When you're starting your own project and you're doing your thing, like you're inspired, you get rolling on it, and it's really, really exciting, and you want to keep on rolling hard on it. But like, if you have a real job, the job comes first, and whatever you're doing on your own personal time comes afterwards, right? And like, the very real side of it is like, even creating anything for yourself, even if you did decide to like, I'm going to sacrifice my home life or whatever, my not actual official work time to work on my own thing, everything comes from somewhere, like whether or not it's money, time, and all these resources and all the things that are associated in a big project. Like my Datsun's a pretty big project. Like I bid off a huge project
Was it more
starting
than you
that,
thought
and like
it was going to be?
well, I kind of knew, I know kind of what I'm getting into, but like even just the raw material cost alone is staggering.
Yeah.
Like that material that I'm using for my chassis part of it is really expensive.
Yeah.
And it's extremely complex. And so it's hard, like,
There's a lot to that build before you even started the build. You had to
Right.
build a chassis table, you had to build a bunch of fixtures, you had to do a whole bunch of other things that, again, aren't necessarily YouTube worthy.
Yeah.
But there was a month in just and labor
Doing
just
that
to get it
stuff.
to the point where you could start doing things. on the
Right.
car.
So much research, so much like you have to have a huge project like that requires a lot of like deep dive understanding of what you're even doing. You know, I'm not a content creator. Like I don't want to do this more than one time. I do not want to go backwards. So not having, you know, with that top of mind, I'm like, I'm not just gonna put out a video doing some janky shit
Yep. That's so
just
true.
to put out a video. Like
That's
I'm gonna make sure,
That's so good.
you know, I'm gonna make sure that I'm putting the right foot forward, and you know, I'm gonna probably make a mistake or two along the way, but I'm gonna try to, you know, think far enough ahead that if I do have to go backwards, it's not going to be a major step backwards.
That's a really
So-
good point that you actually mentioned of doing stuff just for, ooh, we're going to make this video where, yeah, we have to make something. We have to publish some content and not really even putting thought into it, but just
Right.
releasing a video just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
So
Appreciate it if you did it faster. I need something to watch on Tuesday night.
I know.
You're kind of messing up my whole
Yeah.
schedule here.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
And the schedule. Yeah, it's interesting because we get comments like that too. And it's like people are like, oh yeah, you guys should, where's the Datsun content? Where's
Yeah.
this content?
Yeah.
But it's not just the video, like it's not just what you see. There's so much planning that goes into creating all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so for you,
But there's a, not to interrupt
No,
you,
you're
like
good.
the back end of it is that's just the work part of
Yeah.
it. Then you got to film it, and then you got how many hours editing it just
Yeah.
to put it together to put it out. So
Yeah.
it's like there's like so many hours even just into a single episode that aren't necessarily even related to the build part of it.
so true.
Yeah.
So it's like all these layers. It just takes time, and it's a battle, man.
So the update videos and the content will happen again. It
Yeah.
has to happen.
Not just in the time frame that you're thinking
Yeah.
that it will.
So-
Yeah, because again, going back to the whole if you're a content creator thing, if you primarily make content, that's all you're focusing on.
Right, yeah.
And you're making all of that stuff to meet, I don't know, have to have a video or two every week.
Right. So it's funny because the opposite side of the spectrum is what I do, which is I'm going out to make a video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's very rarely I leave now without my camera.
That's
And it's
interesting.
like, so I do believe there's got to be some sort of balance there, whatever it is. But what I'm finding, and you know, I'm fairly new at this, you know, but what I'm finding now is that people are really drawn to the realism, and I'm finding it out like just by posting more, you know, like now I did like a family video instead of a wheeling video, and it's doing pretty well for me. So it's, you know, not great, not as well as my, you know, what people are used to seeing, but it's just funny because the people want to see the realism, you know, and it's kind of transferring over that way. It's like we've been so saturated with like to put cars into perspective is we've been so oversaturated with like the Lambos, the
Yeah, the
Ferraris,
crazy stuff.
crazy
Yeah.
stuff. It's like for me as you know, I'm not as into like the exotic cars as you guys, but seeing like the chassis being built, like not the chassis, but what did you call it, the jig?
Yeah, jig fixture. Yeah.
That to me was so cool because it was like, wow, that's before he even started the car, right? And it was like again, but I might not be the target audience, but I'm just saying that it was like it put that realism of like this is what we have to do before we do anything.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool.
No, and I really appreciate that too, because again, I think there's different types of people for different types of YouTube channels. I always say, no matter the audience, no matter what you film, there's always an audience for it.
For sure.
And so whenever Rob is making something and he even says, oh, this is probably not going to be a good video, I'm like, I want to see it. Like, that looks like a good video.
And you know what? More often than not, that fires me up just to call you over so you can see it. So
You gotta remember, it's like you know, I made the joke about the slow-mo sparks, right?
Yeah.
Like it's cinematic, it looks great, and obviously should add it into the videos when you have it, but like that's what we're so used to seeing is like cinematic shots. It's like we want to. What's next? Like what's next for social media? And it looks like it's more of that raw. You'll see a lot of YouTubers especially now they're leaning more into like the shaky camera,
Oh, yeah.
vlog style.
It's like going back almost.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
So what
That's
it
so
was,
true.
what
Yeah.
drew us all in originally.
So
anyways,
Right, exactly. Like we were rocking gimbals
Yeah.
just for the vlogging part, and now nobody's rocking a gimbal anymore. Granted, the cameras have better stabilization. It's still not as good as a gimbal, and you do get a little bit of that shaky camera, and to the viewer, it makes it real, right?
Yeah.
It's like now yeah.
And so what about you, like Sarah, in your content creation things, like do you rely on like equipment, or like how do you even
No, I don't have any equipment.
Okay.
I have you. I have you. And,
The
and, I
OG shaky video.
shaky
as much as I can get. And I'm not
Just keeping it real.
I am keeping it very real. I'm not a content creator. And exactly what you guys were saying, like I'm still trying to like start a business, right? It's still in its infancy. Like we're still growing, and it's me and Greg is not interested in social media at all.
He's
So-
actually anti.
like
I got him
you've
on a
never
big
seen him on any
consumer of
video.
social media.
Yeah.
I posted a video of him yesterday for the first time ever. He let me, and it had nothing to do with work. We were just
Wow.
He let you?
only on Facebook. It was on my Facebook stories or whatever.
Very limited.
Oh,
Limited
okay.
release.
Yeah.
Because I think I remember the first time I came, I think I posted a video or a story of him, and I just immediately almost got there like, no.
No, you don't film Greg. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why.
He's very mysterious.
Yeah.
Very mysterious man, right? So
Yeah.
he doesn't, but he also doesn't want to participate in the creation of any of it either. But he does want to tell me what to do. And like I'll just kind of take it and or leave it or whatever, keep what works and what doesn't if I can. But yeah, like we have a business to run, like we have bills to pay, and we are so like new together. It's only been a couple years, which sounds like a long time, but it's really not, right? And then there's also like the business side of stuff too. Like we have like to do our own accounting and order all of our materials and everything to do with the business is like me and Greg, and then we have to work, and then we have to get.
It's like another full-time job, honestly.
Yeah, and outside of social media, because Greg has been doing this for so long, and he has so many like people that know who he is that don't use social media.
Greg's
like-
in a weird world because he still has this core group of people that are like 100 years old
Yeah.
that I don't like actual like
Like
yeah,
actually.
people in their 90s.
Wow.
That'll probably write him
He
letters.
was here
They
yesterday.
write him letters?
Like,
Yeah.
Isn't that 32 behind us?
No, that's
one
a
of those
different
guys.
guy.
Oh, it's
No,
different.
So he's got
close to
a lot of really old guys
Like he
that
probably has a Rolodex, I bet.
for sure.
That's amazing.
So yeah, like we're there. So it's kind of like up to me. And then I'm still learning so much too from Greg. So, and from Tim and Rob and everybody. And then still trying to like, keep up on like things that are happening on TikTok that I'm interested
Yes.
in. And then I do have my own weird projects on the side, which we shouldn't really talk about. They're too weird, right?
They're very interesting.
Yeah, like
Nah, nothing is too weird.
like,
There's always an
I'm
audience.
like modifying a dollhouse.
That is
cool, though.
Pretty
It's-
awesome.
it's pretty awesome.
You should post that to TikTok.
I have,
Okay.
but I got into it and I went crazy on it for a couple days and I filmed a bunch of stuff and then I made some videos and I posted them and like immediately they did really well.
Oh.
But then now I have to go back to my actual life that's not
Related to a dollhouse.
related to or like surrounding like building a dollhouse,
Yeah.
right? Anyways, so
Yeah, that's
hopefully
cool.
it'll be cool and I like it. Anyways.
Yeah, I think everyone has to. It's almost. It's interesting that people say, "Oh, I'm not a content creator," but I feel like to survive in this day and age as a person, or not as a person, as a business, all of that stuff, you almost have to become a content creator. Not just that, but also to grow your business, because I'm sure you found or people have found you because of like social media. And do you get a lot of that, like people telling you to build their stuff? And
Yeah, I get it from all over the place, literally all over the world. So I mean, your market is so much bigger. Like we have cars in here from Ireland, and I get people in like Brazil and all these wild places that want to send cars.
Yep.
That wasn't really a thing. Like even in the glory days of our bike building, we used to be in the States and all over the place, but basically what you're doing in that time was like advertising for local shops.
Yep.
Because you would go to their place, win their show, and then leave. And whoever saw your bike wasn't following you back home, because the idea of it and being able to oversee it and all these different layers to it just wasn't reasonable. So they would go to their local shop and be like, hey, build me those guys' bike. And that's like, and then we got a little bit, like, oh, awesome. Someone knocked off another one of our bikes. You're just advertising for everybody else.
Yes.
That's great. Whereas now, if they can follow along and they can see what's happening through your social media, it removes a lot of that sort of, I guess, would be anxiety of it, because it's almost like they're there. And we talked about it before, like even doing all this stuff on our social media, like we don't get visitors anymore. Like before, back in the day, they'd just come hang out at the shop for the whole day. You're like, man, you got to go. I got to get to work here. Whereas now they can follow along on social media and they're not here bothering us. Not that they were they were bothering us.
And then like the opposite problem is like having all these old guys hanging around and they don't have social media. So then they want to come in once a week on their like Wednesday.
oversee
That's part
their
of their
day off.
Part of
And I'm like-
their whole
I'm like,
thing for
so,
the day.
yeah, I gotta. Anyways, I'm gonna like get back to this, and they're just like, have like 18 more questions. Like, you have to
And
go,
they're
please.
hyper focused on what their car is.
Yeah.
So we used to joke about it because we had another business in the past that had a lot of that as a customer base, and they'll just spend the whole day talking to you. Like they will educate you. Like George on a Wednesday put my car together. I reached out, I wrote him a letter, and it's now he's doing this. He's got 8 grandkids, and you're like, what? Like, I don't care.
That's funny. And
Yeah.
and so Teddy, regarding like your off-roading adventures, all of that stuff, I'm sure you have sponsors. So are there some stuff that people reach out to you for that you don't like their product and you're like, I'm never gonna use this? And so have you gotten to the point of like refusing, or how
like,
does that work?
There's a lot of, especially I post a dog a lot, right? So I get a lot of dog,
Oh, really?
a lot.
I would have
And it's
never
like-
thought that.
yeah, like
Okay,
3 times,
interesting.
Three companies a day
Yeah.
reaching out. They want my dog wearing a scarf for their dog. And it's like, no, we're not, dude, I don't reply to any of that
Dude,
stuff.
you should start an Instagram for your dog.
Just for the dog?
Yeah, like
maybe.
there's a lot of
Dedicated to cats.
Okay, my friend Erin in Vancouver started on Instagram one of the first accounts, Cats of Instagram, and she has
Oh,
millions of followers,
no.
and she made a small fortune, I'm sure. I don't know
Wow.
exactly how much, but she does really, really well.
Right now I get quite a few companies for like LED lights and that sort of things. I kind of picked the best of the bunch and rolled with them. I also, at this stage of the game, I know that I'm lots of growth is about to happen. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm picking companies that will help me grow.
That's good.
And as we get going here, companies that, as the channel grows, they'll, be a bigger part of the channel, bigger sponsor. I don't want to be reaching out to new people. I'd rather keep the people that help me get started, and then let's just build together.
That's good. That's
pretty
deep.
solid,
Wow. Oof. That's good. And so, no, you're good.
Yeah,
Keep going.
So, like, for example, like when we do the bigger trips, I would like my current sponsors to sponsor the trip, right? So it's like this series was brought to you by the same sponsor.
Oh, okay.
Been there since day one. As far as the ones that are reaching out that don't have good products or whatever, I usually just will either
Tell
accept
the
it.
truth, ignore it.
I'd either like maybe accept it and then like take a good look at it, and if it's decent enough, I'll have it in a video. I won't. Sometimes they want me to like want
Show
a
it.
45-second plug, and like once I have the product, I just say no.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do?
Sorry.
Send it back. Like
Yeah. And so does it apply to you guys, Rob?
Yeah,
Kim?
we've got some wild things.
Yeah.
Like gold spray paint. I think your customers will love this. You're like, no, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all you can do is just be like, no, I don't think that's a good fit for us, but thanks.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's usually where it ends. As far as the stuff that we're doing, it's usually us doing the reaching out just because of the nature of what it is. Some of the
Okay.
stuff is so expensive. Like we're not, that kind of stuff would be more for consumables, and we're sort of married to the products that we use. So until those guys start giving us stuff, but we'll get there.
And then like for me, I don't have anything like that now, but before when I was in the motorcycle industry, I got given a lot of stuff.
Really? Okay.
A lot of stuff. And it wasn't because I had some great social media account. It's because I was in purchasing, and because my sales were so big from, I worked for High Road, but was Vancouver, BMW, Ducati. So like nice products, all the gear and stuff that I was purchasing from companies was like really high end stuff. So I was getting helmets. I still have new helmets in the box. I haven't been there in years, right? Like, so a lot of different companies were giving me a lot of stuff, right? But at the same time, people would try to give me stuff that I have no interest in. I'm never going to carry this product. I'm never going to sell your product. So don't even send it to me. Like,
don't even bother.
people would send me boxes of stuff and I would just return them to sender. That happened a few
Wow.
times. Like, I don't want it. It's not going to happen. You're wasting your time, your money and my time, right? So
that's kind of a big problem right now. Like we were talking earlier, like you have plenty of opportunity to save money, but in Teddy's sort of world, the creation of the content costs money in itself. For us, it's a little bit easier because our customers are already buying these products.
Yeah.
So then that gives us opportunity to be like, hey, we used this last time. We'd like to use it again. Can you help us out? Whereas him, you can get all the free stuff, but if you can't afford to get out of the driveway and go create content, so it's like until you got to get to the point where money starts coming in so that you can start branching further and further out, because you could have 10 rooftop tents, but you're going to be viewing them in the front yard because it costs me how much gas to get out someplace to set this thing up. So,
So
it's hard. Like at the
Okay.
beginning stages of it, it's more about saving money rather than making. I think getting to the part where you make money off social media is a long grind.
It is. Oh, we've been grinding for a while.
Well, I think especially now, like to touch on that, is for me to go away is, right now is about $300 a weekend to go away. So you do the math, that's like $1,200 a month just to go. That's just gas.
Yeah.
Right. And then I come home, I got to edit the videos, which take me, I'm not great at editing. So it takes me
A fair
long
bit,
time.
yeah.
So it takes me about 30 to 40 hours per video. That's on top of working, right? Which I have to work still.
Yeah, because you still have a full-time
exactly.
job.
And I have a baby on the way, and it's like, so when you mentioned it's like it's another full-time job, it really is another full-time job. And the bad part about social media is that it is ruthless, in that, like I said, if you don't post, you don't exist.
Yep,
And if
so
you miss
true.
a couple weeks, you're like, now I haven't posted in about a month on YouTube. People are asking me if I'm okay.
Oh my
It's really bad.
gosh.
People were messaging me and like, did you quit? Is everything okay? Did the car break down? Like, what happened? So I had to quickly post. Everything's okay.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because years ago I used to be way more active in social media because I was a college student. I wasn't doing anything. I was like, I have time to post. I post like 3 YouTube videos a week and all that stuff. And so my social media following just started to grow, and it was pretty cool to see. But when I got a job, like when I moved cities and all that stuff, I got a job. I didn't post for was it like 6 months or something? When I posted, it was literally like a lot of the people that used to watch me just didn't care afterward, or something happened, but my viewership dropped from I used to get like 10,000 views of video, and it dropped to like a few hundred views of video. And so it's interesting, it's so true. Like if you don't post anything, even if it's for a month or two, you almost don't exist. It's the same thing with what are the guys, Street Bandito?
Yeah, we were just talking about them just recently. It's he's kind of dropped off the map, and
Because
yeah.
They had a SEMA project. What was their?
They're building, they called it the FE32. It was like a Formula One inspired electric converted 32 Ford.
Looks so good.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, right? It's a cool project.
That's my
But
jam.
what happened? They didn't post for 3 months.
Yeah.
We all started speculating.
We thought
all
that
these wild things. Like maybe the shop burned down.
Yeah.
Maybe they ran out of money. Maybe the guy got shot. I don't know.
And the same thing, if you look at their comment section on Instagram, it's the same thing. People are like, something happened. You guys are like, is everything okay? Did someone die?
No, he's in
no, you
jail.
see-
He's in rehab.
So I just reflect on my own personal experience. Like, no, they're probably just like grinding hard
Yeah.
to get job done. And it costs a fortune to buy the material for what they're even trying to accomplish. So
Very true.
it's
You gotta
the
remember-
other side of it.
So the hard part is I can't remember the number now, but how many YouTube accounts are getting created daily?
Every day.
Every day. And it's like when you don't post a week, there's about 50,000 people
To
ready
take
to
that
the spot.
place.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
So
the
true.
algorithm is just going to feed your
It's
people.
ruthless. Yeah.
Ruthless, like you said. Like it's like, what have you done for me lately? Like
Yeah.
that's got to be top of mind if you're creating.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said for great content. You have it and you don't have it, and
Right.
that's it. So it's
Yeah.
like, if whoever.
But you can have great content
and you don't get,
and then nobody
so,
nothing.
Amen to that.
So it's like, and then some of the stuff you see is like
Amen to
it's
that.
got 100,000 views, and like this doesn't even make sense. It
Yep.
makes me want to
Yeah.
quit.
Yeah.
It's like I'm wasting my time because this jack out here with a hacksaw and a hand drill. Yeah, he's got 1 million followers. You're like,
Yep.
what the hell is going on?
we go through it all the time because like the videos you think are gonna do well tank. And
It's
then the
so
ones that-
true.
The ones that like
You don't even put effort in.
yeah, and then all of a sudden those ones just go crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like I think it comes down to like the whole realism aspect.
Yeah.
Part of it is like the rawness of it. Unless you're a whole other level where you're making movies. Like I talk about Sean all the time. Like he's making movies, right? So every like his worst video is a 9 out of 10. And it's just like every week he's just pumping these things out. Unless you're that level, it's like it's hard. It's like you gotta just get the content out there. If somebody's gonna watch
But that's
it.
probably a 4 or 5 year grind too to get.
Oh
to that.
yes.
Oh,
Oh
100%,
yeah.
No, he's been doing
So
it.
it's like
yeah.
there's like 4 years of you getting nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden away you go.
It's so true.
The amount of investment, like doing what he's doing, and we've had conversations between the two of us a bunch of times. It's like you almost have to treat it like a business, and there's going to be a certain amount of investment in it before it jumps off. But like 5 years ago, if you're like, okay, I'm going to start a YouTube channel, and people are like, well,
It's a joke.
Okay.
Get a real job.
Get a real
But
job.
now, like, there's getting to be a little bit of legitimacy to
Yes.
starting like a channel. Like, there's enough information there that says that this could be a viable thing for you.
Yep.
Like, you might actually be able to do it. And now the numbers don't even have to be that crazy
No,
to make it
no.
a legitimate income.
Income.
So it's like the transition has been crazy. Like it's come a long ways. Like, and we continue to invest in it because we see a return in it just in our shop projects. Like the justification for it isn't that crazy because, like I say, the amount, even if we got 1% feedback, that's still too much work for us to possibly do. But it, like we were talking earlier, we used to go do all these shows, and then I'd sit down and be like, okay, these shows are costing me this much money in fuel and hotel rooms and all this kind of stuff. And we got to a place where they were starting to pay for those things. But
Okay.
it's still time out of the shop. We're on the road for 5, 7, 10 days at a time. So that's loss of income. So we'd be like, okay, it's costing us $75,000 a year to do all these shows, to garner all this attention, to get work in the shop. But so we're like, we're not doing that anymore. We're big time now. We got tons of work. It immediately almost dried up, like right away. So
Wow.
it's like, oh, okay, it's just me and him standing around now. But
Wow.
a lot of people's motivation for those projects was to win shows specifically. Like, I want to be in a magazine. I want to win this show. Blah blah blah. Whereas now you can almost feed that stuff out there on a daily basis and stay relevant and stay in people's minds without all that added expense
Yeah.
of having to be on site. Like, you still need to be on site and make your presence known, but we're a lot more choosier in what we do now, and we can keep people engaged along the way. So that's a huge transition for us as like a business standpoint of it. So we're still investing in it, but not in the same way that we were before. So we're not losing that shop time by putting this stuff out there. So it's still an expense, but it makes more sense.
I can attest to that with the boxing. It was every time I was regular posting videos, my membership would go up, my personal training would go up to the point where I couldn't be posting videos anymore because now I'm training people. And then training people would kind of dwindle away.
Yeah.
And then I'd start making more videos, and it was just this constant wave. You could see it throughout my my boxing channel.
Yeah.
And but again, it was at that time having a YouTube channel was not a viable thing. It was about 10 years ago or whatever. And so I put the focus on the gym. So every time it got busy, no more videos.
Oh,
And every time I needed to get busier, post more videos. Whereas in what's happening now is just it's constant getting videos out.
Yeah.
Just being not a character, but just being a creator, like an influencer or whatever you want to call it.
And so I wanted to talk to you about this a little bit, Rob, just kind of like piggybacking off of what he said, because sometimes when I'm in the shop, you're like, oh shoot, this is probably going to be like video content or video worthy.
So I'm typically showing you things or calling you over to sort of see things kind of from what in my perspective is interesting, and I like watching things being created, and a lot of our viewers, I think, are clients. Like I'm thinking about them a lot of times is like, okay, well, what would they like to see, and so I just call you over on occasion to sort of capture some of those little moments. Like this looks like it would be like a part of an interesting storyboard of this particular project. Like if I had to snapshot like certain images and like create like say like a photo album, that's kind of how my mind is like capturing these little things. Like
A lot of
strange and odd,
covered
but
up too. So it's like an opportunity to show
true.
them.
Right.
Like this is a chance for you to see what we did here before we go to the next thing.
Well,
It's like little windows, it's like a slideshow along the way.
yeah, it is. I mean, and like you said, like if it gets covered up, you know, in the next stage of whatever we're working on, like it was an interesting little thing that made, you know, whatever I'm making look the way it does, or it was a major, you know, decision process part of the project to sort of just complete it. So I don't know. I like seeing that kind of stuff when I'm watching videos, because I like watching YouTube. It's like I barely ever watch
Regular
TV
stuff,
for anything outside of that. I like watching people make things. Doesn't matter what they're making. I go watch some grandma knitting something dope. But I just like watching it.
I watched a guy make a teapot for hours.
Oh,
It's like, oh, that is so cool.
yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm never gonna do that, but
The guy's messing up the algorithm.
the car content, the teapots.
it's true though. But so like I just like, hey, you gotta come and check this out. I think this is sick. So yeah. But I like social media to me, because I don't have a personal social media platform that I'm on.
Yeah.
Like I within me,
find that so
I just can't.
interesting. Okay.
I can't do it, but I am fully on board with the importance of what it is
Yeah.
and how it represents business and how you portray yourself to the world watching. Like, so I think it's super, super important, and I want the people, any even if it's just one person, to see what goes into doing what we're doing. You know, and you know, sometimes
Yeah. I think there's a direct correlation between the way you present yourself and the quality of the work that you bring in.
Very true.
Because like even for us in the younger days, we were building crazy stuff, building $100,000 bikes, but to try to get those next level projects when the guy's like 55 years old, this is his pride and joy.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you got us, we're like 27, like we can do this.
yeah,
And
they're
they're
like,
no, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
I don't trust you. Whereas now, like the way you present yourself on social media is like those people are approaching us based on their perception of us. And it's like, I have kids that want to come work for us from like, I am chatting with a guy from Russia right now. And I straight up told him, I was like, hey, don't make this decision solely based on our social
What
media.
you see on social media,
Because
yeah.
like when you get here, like we got to work, we got things we got to do. It's not always going to be like this. So like this is a window, but this is not the whole thing. But for our customers still, it's like they see us doing this thing. They see it happening in sort of like a, you know, where it's a continued, like they get to follow along. So they're confident because they get to see it come in, they get to see it go out. And then that builds a lot of confidence in new potential customers. Whereas before, it's like you had to try to sell them on it. Like I don't have to sell anybody on anything now because they can see the whole process.
Yeah.
Like we're pretty transparent with the way things go down. So I'm not really fighting it and like getting into doing Ferraris and Lambos and all that kind of stuff. Like when you're young, that's all you want to do. Like,
Yes.
I can do this. They're like, I don't know if you can. You have no way to prove to me that you have until you've done it, which is like sort of the, you know, that's the basis of everything. Is like until you've done it, nobody's going to believe that you can do it, but you can't do it until you get a chance to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you get in? Like it's impossible.
True.
So like now you can show them that you can achieve on different platforms, and they progressively get better and better and better.
Yeah.
And now it's like commonplace for us.
Yes.
Like, oh, big deal. There's another Ferrari downstairs. Yeah. But there was a time where it was like,
I know, right?
yeah, that was the dream. Like, all
Yeah.
I want to do is work on a Ferrari. And it's like, now it's, you know,
And someone's like, wow, a Ferrari. You're like, yeah, it's a Ferrari. Anyways,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Yeah, whatever.
It is
Check
so
this out.
Have you seen my Mercedes?
True. I would take that. No, over the Testarossa.
So like I had somebody make a comment to me the other day. I like came into the shop and I had just done some little thing. It was just a shifter boot or whatever. And I was just holding it in my hand. And this guy was like, oh, what are you going to do? Go take a picture of it and put it on your social media now? Because that's all you ever do. You guys ever do any work around here? You just post stuff on social media. And
Oh, yeah.
And all this. And I was just,
Wow.
And basically he And he's somebody who owns a shop too that has no social media. I'm not gonna say who it is, but some of us know.
He's
And,
someone is jelly. He's jealous.
No, because you'll never see this.
Because he doesn't go on social media.
Yeah.
Well, he does.
Solid
He
point. He's
does.
aware of how much social media we actually do.
I see.
That was the interesting thing, was that he was making fun of not just me, but like the whole group for the effort put into our social media, but yet his business has no social media, but he's out there consuming our social media
Yeah.
constantly.
All I gotta say about
So-
that is if you post the boot on your social media, he's sharing that with all of his friends.
It did really well. Now I have to make a tutorial because no one can figure out how I did it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like, what do you think about that? Like, what is that? Like, for me to try to explain to him like what the benefit.
Yeah.
He's just straight
Some
up hater.
people are just like
Yeah,
that.
I think it's
I
I
was-
was that
Dinosaur.
guy.
I was kind of stumped to try and like, you were that guy?
I was that guy.
Really?
Oh, I hated the camera. I hated social media. I wanted nothing to do with it. I know I had to do it for business, but even my personal account only has like 400 followers. Like this is my like family, really.
Yeah.
But though I think on that, I think it's just a time of transition. I'm assuming he was an older guy, and am I wrong?
Older than me.
Yeah. So it was like it's almost like what's happening with the EVs right now. It's like it's
Everyone's like, no.
you get like a 20-year-old, they're getting a Tesla or some
So
sort of
true.
EV. They don't want no V8. Like,
They don't even want to drive these days, actually.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. It's very true. Whereas in like, our generation is, first of all, social media, the whole thing is weird because where's the privacy in that now?
True.
Right.
It's so true.
it's like, and then when I started filming, I would never film people because I'm like, oh, they probably don't want to be on camera, which is exact opposite. I actually ran into trouble with that. Because,
Really?
Yeah, I went on a trip and I purposely didn't film this one individual because he seemed very uncomfortable with the whole thing. And the reason why he seemed so uncomfortable was because I wasn't filming him. So he's like, I come out with you to be on a video and you don't even film me. So that's his thought process. Meanwhile, I'm like, he seems like really edgy, so I'm not going to film him.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we didn't talk about it until afterwards.
And we're like, oh.
That's a big thing because like now a lot of our customers straight up ask like, hey, is there going to be a video on this?
Really?
Yeah,
And
actually.
like, they
Oh,
want to
cool.
follow along
That's awesome.
and do the thing.
Yeah, they
So it's
want
like,
it, yeah.
They
Yeah.
want it, but now at least they'll come forward and ask for it. Like, hey, are you going to do a video on this? And it's part of like the whole package now. Whereas before that was never a thing.
That's pretty awesome.
And we used to actually do stuff where it's like, don't tell anybody I'm doing this.
Yep,
And
yep,
they're like,
yep.
what? Why not? And then now it's all the way the other way. Like they want to be a part of the whole thing. So, and then now it's like I gotta be careful with what I post because as soon as I do, it starts a whole conversation.
Yeah.
Like I don't have time for this today.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna post this tomorrow
Yeah, we're
morning
gonna do
because
this
I know
tomorrow.
as soon as I do, it's
There's
just
gonna
gonna
be-
bring a wave
Yeah.
of like, oh man, that looks sick. Like, can we do this? Like, I'm so pumped. And it's like I gotta section time off for that too.
Yeah.
So it's I can feed it to them, but at the same time, I got to be strategic about it as well. So
So on your end, do clients also want to see like updates
Yeah,
on
that
your
was
social
the-
media and all that, or?
The first video that I did that was like, I don't know if viral is the right word, but by my standards for my account, I don't know, it had like 75,000 views on it on
That's
TikTok.
a lot of views, yeah.
Which isn't the most that I got, but the most that was work related.
Mm-hmm.
But she said, hey, like I saw you made a video of this before. Can you make a video of my motorcycle seat? I was like, I can't even remember. I think I was just putting gel in it, or maybe I made a custom cover for it too. Yeah, and then she asked me to do it, and then I filmed the process, and a lot of it's time lapse and just like talking over it about a bunch of nonsense, and then I didn't really think too much of it, and then it was like 75,000 views.
That's
like the
so
next
funny.
day. And then I had another viral video, but it had nothing to do with work, but it was just ridiculous.
See, messing up the algorithm.
But it
Yeah, true.
messed up the algorithm. It had nothing to do with work, and then it had like a couple million views.
we had a low key battle going at the same time.
Really?
That's
Okay.
awesome.
I won. It was pretty good.
I don't remember that.
Which what was it? What was the
Her
post?
video, I don't even
No,
know.
what was your? Did you have one like where you guys comparing which video would do better?
No, because I dropped a video on TikTok and I think it got like 2.2 million views at the time.
And mine was 2.2 million.
And hers was 2.2.
Oh,
Mine has
shoot.
since gone to I don't know what, somewhere
Mine stopped.
4 or 5 million, and hers stopped.
Mine stopped right there. It's
But
just
like
like,
right away, it's like that was my first viral post. Like, oh, away it goes. And then she comes in with some goofy nonsense and almost beat it. And like that was like that's part of the social media bitterness. It's like,
Yep.
oh man, I busted
Yeah.
ass on this.
No, I feel that.
but here's the problem. It got 300,000 likes on TikTok. I don't have more than 20 videos on my TikTok, even probably 20 or 30 or something. But then I got like a few thousand, 3,000 followers, but they're not following me because they want to see upholstery.
No,
Yeah,
they
more
just
work. They're following.
Oh,
'cause they
yeah.
wanna see
Just
more
follow.
craziness.
Other part.
yeah.
So I don't know what to do with that, right?
Like if you look
that's
at
the
my
question I gotta
analytics,
wonder.
it's straight up men 25 to 45. Yeah, like there's nothing else.
Yeah.
That's so mine is like super focused. So whereas hers was
So that one's a bit older now. So it's like that was from more than a year ago. So now it's like a little bit back to normal and the people that are following me. And then I started recently kind of posting a little more regularly. And then now like that one with the boot got more engagement than anything since that dumb viral video.
It's interesting you mentioned that too about like follower demographics because so I have a not personal, but I have a my other channel, the Golden Drive, where I do car stuff, random stuff. But my demographic, same thing. It's just like 20 something to 40 something, just guys, like 100%. But,
Yeah,
but
same.
I just recently decided I was like, I'm just gonna start another like personal channel. And the first video I posted is like overnight it got like 2 million views. And now
Nice.
and it just is random. It just keeps on growing at random days. But I think now it's at 11 million. And it's
Was it a short?
no, just a TikTok.
Oh, TikTok. Oh, okay.
yeah.
it's pretty funny though.
It was a good video. Yeah,
It is pretty funny.
it's pretty funny.
But no, it's just interesting also to see my demographics now because I'm used to just guys following me, but now it's like 80% women are following me, like for the video that I made because it was me and my wife and I. But it's interesting to compare. Same thing with YouTube. Like if you check our YouTube, it's just that's
guys.
99% guys and 1% female. So like, what is it like on your end?
They're the same. I'm like
Okay.
1% female. Yeah.
All dudes.
All dudes. Oh,
I have no idea.
Yeah, that adds a whole nother side to it, and we get frustrated in our industry because it's like there's so many females, and then they'll do the same things that we do, but their counts are crazy.
Yep.
It goes
Yeah.
nuts.
So true.
you're like,
it's like,
man,
wow, this girl is
oh
just
my
changing
God, yes.
oil.
So I make fun of her. I'm like, oh my God, you're so talented.
Okay, but to be fair, that those kinds of comments mostly come from like girlfriends on my Facebook.
On that topic,
Yeah.
of like, a pretty girl goes on and she can get, more views or whatever. But the big picture that I'm noticing is that could be partially true. But if you look at the biggest YouTubers, what are they bringing to the table? It's not good looks and they're bringing just pure entertainment.
Yeah.
In our genre, there is a couple of females that have done very well, but it's also because they're bringing that entertainment value, whatever it may be, right? So there's that part of it.
Like
Yeah.
solid skill set that people
Yeah.
are actually interested in.
Yeah, we have to work a lot harder to get views.
Well, just to get the like that, it's almost like a thumbnail, right? Like the original part of it will be there no matter what. But if you have a good looking person doing something,
So true.
and it's like the initial part will be there, but if they don't know what they're talking about, and it just gets annoying. It's just like,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
watching this person anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Where's the staying power? Then?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it has to go a lot deeper
Yeah,
than
it's all about the entertainment value.
that.
Yeah.
Collaborations. Let's talk about collaborations.
Yes.
My name is Teddy, and I have a YouTube
We're
channel.
doing the intro in like an hour into the video.
Like, who's this Teddy guy? Where did he come from?
I still haven't said what it is.
Yeah.
It's Unwinding Roads on YouTube and
Yes.
on Instagram. Unwinding_roads.
So if you're interested, you can subscribe to his channel because he needs the views and
I need
the
views.
subscriptions.
I need the subscriptions.
Yeah.
Let me know in the comments what your favorite video is so I can make more of that stuff.
And you definitely want to check it out because your videos are pretty sick.
yeah,
I try
think
to
they're
I try
pretty
to make
good.
them pretty high quality and
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes
They
me a
look
lot of time.
glorious.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
The most recent one I followed was when you lost all the footage. So that was
Yeah, so
Yeah.
another social media hack is to bring somebody in with bigger social media and just poach their stuff.
that is
Social media marketing right there.
actually that's a good point. Talking about like collaborations between I don't know social media people.
Yeah.
Because you're huge into that, and so So how does that play into getting more views, all of that stuff?
Yeah, so I got super lucky, very, very lucky in my position. I met Sean, whose channel is The Story Till Now, and
That's the name of his YouTube channel.
Yep.
Check it out if you're interested.
Yeah, awesome. Like he was the one I was talking about earlier that makes like movie quality videos every week. Every single week he's got a new one out.
Wow.
Never misses. And like I said, his bad video is like a 9 out of 10. And it's like, it just never, like, I don't even remember the last time he did a 9 out of 10 video. I can't even think of it. But I got super lucky. I met him through the community. We went wheeling and we just really got along. Like me and him are the same person almost. And we just really got along, became really good friends. He's one of my best friends now, and became a mentor to the channel. He's involved in a bigger group called Dirty and Dangerous Crew. And I ended up becoming part of that group as well, as the channel is growing. From there, sponsorships, it led to sponsorships.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Yeah. So like Epic Adventure Outfitters is one of his main sponsors. They ended up taking me on as well. And going back to how do you present yourself, what Tim was mentioning is very much that. So I'm making family friendly content. The way I present myself, got these people on board, which is awesome. And they basically want to see their product out on yet another channel. So my Jeep is built by them. They want me to go out. So they basically help pay for, like I said, these trips are very expensive. So they help pay for the trips so that, more content of their stuff being actually used. And that's sort of led to more things. And yeah.
That's
More
pretty
bigger
awesome.
Bigger sponsorships. And actually Paul from Epic, he really got in my head, like high tide raises all ships. So, bringing everybody up.
That's so good.
Because my whole thing is I'm pretty self-conscious about being the small guy in the group, which I am. But he says, by bringing you up, you're going to bring up everybody else as well, and so on. And it's been a wild ride for sure. And yeah, let's just keep it going.
That's
I don't
pretty
know what to
awesome.
say.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty solid message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
High tide raises
Yeah.
all the ships. Is that what you said? That's we have a thing that we say is like everybody's got to eat kind of thing. And it's just this is solid stuff. Like bring everybody along for the ride.
Yeah, but I was prior to this. I was very opposite of that. I saw everybody as
Really?
competition. Yeah, well, boxing, right? So it's like everybody was a competition. Doesn't matter. It's like no, like I got to be better than this guy. I got to be better than that guy, which I still have. But it's more of like you can see that by helping me and then I add to the channel as well.
Value, yeah.
So you got like it goes both ways. And when Sean goes out, he likes to have me along. I bring some sort of entertainment value and another cool rig and so on, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure his followers too would also want to see you because they're like, oh, where's this guy? Or you bring this guy along and all of that stuff because you add a certain amount of awesomeness with your personality
Exactly.
and all of that good stuff.
The catch to it is a lot of my viewership came from him, his much bigger channel. So he's got at the time of recording this, he's got 174,000 subscribers.
Cool.
Right. And so a lot of my subscribers came from being on his channel. When they came over, they're looking for something specific. They're looking for his style of video, which is sort of what I wanted to do anyway. I don't have the means, as Tim said, is like, it's a full-time job. It's expensive to go. I don't have the means to do it. So right now, if I post anything other than a crazy trip, right, it doesn't get
as many views. Yeah.
That is growing, it looks like. So I think I'm going to be okay. But, that's the one big problem with collaborations is make sure that you're doing this. You get the collaboration with the same genre.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be doing a collaboration with something else. There's a couple of examples of that. Like if you're doing, well, it's sort of what happened to you. Like imagine if you collaborated with that video that went viral, which you didn't collaborate, but I'm saying if you did, then you're getting a whole bunch of followers. That's not exactly the content that you're creating.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, I feel that for sure.
Yeah, cool part of seeing a lot of collaborations is sometimes just seeing the content from a different perspective.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because some versions are like very much like what he says, they're very polished. So sometimes it's nice to see a window into that same content from a different, like almost a more realistic, like honest interpretation of that situation. So it's fun to watch the different sides of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all come into it with our own point of view
Yes.
and perspective, right? So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Like I had a comment on, like I said, I made a boot, shifter boot for this car. And this guy was like, oh, what are you going to do? Post that? Of course I am. So I went and made a video. I posted it. And the way I made it is a bit of a puzzle. And if you don't sew, like it's a trick on how I did it, right? So I took a video of it and I was like, does anyone know how I did this? Like, how did I sew this, right? And one of the comments was like, who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody cares about sewing. And I was like,
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay, I know why you're following me now, but like, but I was like, and of course I looked at his account because I'm just like, oh, how dare you? Right?
Oh, you look at the accounts. Oh,
So
gosh.
I looked at his account because I'm not a big account. So this is my first hater in like a little while, right? Oh, I can't believe he said that. So I looked at his account and it was like, I don't even want to give any like press to him, but he has a specific kind of dog, right? And he's like, nobody cares about sewing. And I was like looking up like how many people follow sewing accounts and how many people follow accounts about this kind of dog. And I'm like, more people care about sewing than they care about your dog and whatever. I'm like, but your dog's kind of cool though, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
You hurt his feelings.
That's funny. But that's also an interesting point you bring up, which is like dealing with haters, because
Yeah.
I feel like today it is so easy to sit behind a keyboard or a phone and just type whatever you think or whatever. You just bring someone down. You just make someone's day worse. Sometimes it's people's goals, which I don't understand.
You suck. No one cares.
Yeah.
Your work is worthless.
Yeah. So how do we all deal with haters?
It was a tough transition for me. Yeah, because I mean, we're like, I'd had no hate for the first, like, until we got to kind of this point, it was just all positive. Like, just
Like, oh, you're the best.
You guys are the best.
You're so talented.
All this type of stuff. But then most recently when we did my Porsche and then TikTok, which is a very much different platform, like on Instagram, it kills
It's mostly positive,
It's all positive, but TikTok, man, I got rocked on TikTok.
You got roasted.
Yeah, so and then now since then it's transitioned and it seems to be all positive again. But there was this initial influx of just straight up hate. And I was like, oh man. So like mentally, as like I was getting a beat down on a daily basis, and then even that transitioned because like once you get to a point now, and we were talking about it earlier, it's like whether it's negative or positive, it's still a benefit to me.
Yeah, positive
Like
or negative
engagement.
press.
It's the same amount of like it as ultimate. So then I start to understand some of these other channels that I watch. Like he mentioned Whistle and Diesel. Like this guy's sole purpose in life is to destroy
everything
he
he
just wants to
has.
destroy everything. And it's like so counterproductive to me, but it's like he's still getting the views, he's still getting the engagement, and he's still getting that paycheck. So for us, it's the same. So now I find haters hilarious.
Yeah.
Because 90% of the time, same thing. Like you'll look at their account and it's like they're just hating for the sake of hating because they have 0 followers,
zero posts, nothing.
Nothing. So there's like literally people that are just mad at the world.
Just miserable.
And they're miserable and they just want to shit on you for no reason. But now it's like, go ahead. I'm still getting the numbers that I need to get.
Exactly.
I'm still seeing the benefit. So knock yourself out. Like it's, what do you got going on? Like I don't, so getting to the point where I can dismiss that, it was like, probably took me a month.
What?
Like,
really?
yeah, because it's like up until then, man, it's nothing but home runs. Like, we got a room full of trophies to prove it. Like I don't think we'd lost a show in 10 years. So like all of a sudden now it's like, oh, it makes you second guess yourself. But then once you sort of realize that there's just people that are just straight up angry, like even the guy that most recently commented on our thing,
I know
he was mad because I wasn't making stuff fast enough.
Yeah,
so then I explained to him,
and he
like,
apologized afterwards. I was like,
okay, I'm sorry.
I was like, oh, this probably came up stronger than I intended.
Yeah.
You got an apology on
I
the
know.
internet?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I've turned haters into followers.
Oh, yeah.
that was pretty cool. I
I'll go deep
really
with these
appreciated
guys.
that. He realized he messed up.
Yeah, it happens. Well, they don't expect you to give them the time of day, and then when you do, it's like, oh, okay, maybe he's not so bad. Maybe he's not just flexing.
Yeah. So like, do you get like a lot of haters?
I do,
or?
yeah. Actually, my channel started and it was all hate. That's all really? Yeah. It was like everybody was like, you're trying to be like Sean is like, you're trying to be like the storyteller.
Oh,
now. You're like-
gosh.
and it's like, well, for me, I had different reasons for doing it. Like I had to learn how to edit. I had to learn how to do all these.
And you want to imitate, but
Yeah.
not copy necessarily.
Right, exactly. So it was originally I was doing it to learn how to edit boxing videos, and I couldn't stand watching myself. This is how you throw a jab. This is how it was driving me nuts. So I started learning how to edit the wheeling videos, and then watching Sean's videos. I was like, if I'm gonna edit, that's what I want to edit. It's like crazy shots, cinematic. So that I tried to make videos like that. And so I got tons of hate. I ended up going to one place that's supposed to be a secret that it's not, but that one blew up because people were just like,
This is not a secret.
yeah, it's like, and other people were like, this is a secret spot. You should not be telling these people these things. That's actually how I got the attention of like many bigger YouTubers in the area. It's 'cause everybody was
You
arguing
exposed
about
the
it.
secret.
Yeah. And then, but they didn't, the YouTubers didn't care. It was the other people that cared. The YouTubers were sticking up for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like this big clash between YouTubers and people that wanted to keep it a secret.
That's fun.
So, yeah. So I ended up making a video about it.
Yeah.
Which also
That got
did
more
well.
views?
Yeah, I got more views.
There you go.
So then
Yeah.
it just kind of snowballed and kept going. But and then now I get barely any hate. On my own videos, I only have like one guy that complains about the music. Other than that, I get no hate. On Sean's videos,
complaining
like
about
your
music.
yeah, he doesn't like my music. choice.
Oh my gosh.
And then on Sean's videos, I do get some hate because I'm more of like the rookie in the wheeling in the group. So people will be like, that's the last time I'd wheel with that guy. And then I jump in there and I like, I talk back. I'm like, why? What did I do? It was
Yeah, that's funny.
I know I tried to talk back to this guy, but all I could come up with was
Your dog sucks.
No, I said, no, I would never. I said the opposite. I said your dog is too good for you.
Oh,
That cuts.
That's the nicest burn I could come up with. And then I was like, I got
Pretty good.
that's pretty good. I felt it from here.
Yeah, I'm gonna rescue him. If
Wow, that's funny. And so, what does the hate and all of that do for you, Rob? Like,
I mean, the haters are always going to be there, right? There's always going to be somebody to pick apart like the most flawless whatever it is. But hate is fuel.
it is fuel.
You know what? Like we do what we do because we love doing what we're doing, and we're creating for ourselves, and to fit our customers' needs or whatever. But we're doing it for ourselves. We just happen to be making a video about it and putting it out there.
Yeah.
So, hater gonna hate. Go ahead, hate all you like.
I feel inspired
You know what?
to like
So
go
different.
make some haters now.
Right.
Like, how do I
You
do
don't
it?
have legitimate success until you have haters.
Very.
Okay,
it's
so-
so
And
true.
then once
Seems
I
like
came
we're getting-
and I started getting haters, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Just like your guy that you said, it's like, oh, these guys are just making videos all the time. It's like, you're watching them, fool.
You're just gonna document your whole life. It's like, yeah, we're doing things. I'm
Yeah.
trying not to swear.
No, you can swear. I'll just bleep it out.
Yeah.
It's easy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's so funny because I feel like I started getting hate early on just because of what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything correct. And so with my Datsun, when I made it, it was like very polarizing. It's either like, oh shoot, he did the best he could do with what he had. But some people are like, oh, you ruined this thing, you cut it up, you use rattle can paint, I'm gonna come there and kill you.
Hand sewed your interior.
Yeah, I know. And so the interior, there's so many comments, and so I personally, like, they have never affected me. Like, it's just I just find it funny.
No,
and
yeah.
so
Cool for
a lot of times, like, I just don't even reply to a lot of the comments. I'm just like, psh. Even now too, whenever we get the hate, I just leave it for Tim.
I just dip in and like
leave it for
wreck
Tim.
one guy, and then I'm out again.
Yeah.
Like,
It's funny.
You might win like the lottery because I'll look at like 50 of them and I'm like, you're getting it today.
And it just go down.
It's
But
funny usually, like, sorry, but it's funny
No, you're good.
usually, like, until most of these responses, and it just starts spiraling,
Yeah.
and then like all the people out there that aren't the haters start hating on the hater,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it just
yeah,
becomes
yeah.
like this little war in the comment
hilarious.
section. It's just funny.
'Cause I actually I have I'm working on a video. It's taking forever, but I actually have screenshots of all my haters and like with their names and everything, because that's what they want. They want the attention,
Yep,
right? So I'm gonna
so
give it
true.
to them. So I wanted to make a video of like all my haters and like what they said, and then like how funny it is. And but the thing is, right when I started doing it, the haters sort of disappeared. Because what I would do is I'd pin the hate comment on the very top, and then other people would jump in and be like, "You don't know what you're talking about," and so on. So I guess. Yeah, it's like I guess people picked up on the fact that I'm pinning the hate comments, and then everybody's like, I don't want to be the guy.
I don't want to be that guy, man.
So I don't know what happened, but I don't get much hate anymore. On Sean's videos, I do, but
I'll just
not
come
at my
and
own.
hate your videos if you want.
Yeah.
Please.
Please.
Content creation.
Like, your dog is cool, but I don't know about you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's very interesting when you say that too, because one of my videos that did well was I crashed one of my cars. It was a 370Z, spun it around, crashed it, long story. But it was interesting because people even stopped looking at the crash, and they were more like, they saw first of all that it was an automatic. They were like, oh, you're driving automatic. That's why you crashed. Black people don't know how to drive.
Oh, wow.
For real.
So it was interesting because similar I made a video about it of all the hate I was getting on the internet, and that video did even better. But the cool part was the people that also come to your defense too, because sometimes you're just like, I'm just one person, and then like it's really cool to see like one comment but like 8 different or 10 different like offshoots or I don't know, tangents that people just go in. So that's also pretty cool to see.
Actually, I had
that's
2
awesome.
haters this week, so I think I'm doing better.
Okay.
Coming on up.
I had another one, and it was another upholsterer. It was another upholsterer who told me that he was better than I am. And I
Wow.
was like,
Okay.
I was like, okay, cool. Must be
Yeah.
nice. I don't know.
What do you want me to say?
Especially when you're not putting it out there that like I'm the best, and then they got to tell you like I'm better than you.
Sure, yeah. That's
Cool.
fine.
was
Maybe
like,
you are.
Whatever makes you sleep
I'm not
at
sure.
night, sure.
Shop's busy. You just scrolling to hate people or what?
I like how he's saying that about himself or her. Is it him or her?
He's better than me.
Yeah, about himself though. It's like the.
I'm better.
funniest part.
I do better. That's what he said. I do better.
Yeah, I'm the best at everything.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
the best
Have you
at
guys seen the
everything.
meme? It's like I'm the best, or I'm better than all of you, or something.
No.
It's like a TikTok meme now. Yeah, it's like
Oh,
I'm
I think I
stronger,
have.
I'm smarter,
I'm better
I am
shoes.
better.
Oh really?
Yeah, because it's like I don't know if you guys have seen the show, but it's called The Boys, and it's like it's kind of like if Justice League or Marvel, they were actual people that lived in real life with real problems, and so some of them think that they're better than everyone else because they have superpowers, and so it's like a parody of that, but it's so good, and so
Pretty gruesome.
Yes.
Like the reality of it is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
because they're a bunch of degenerates.
Oh, yeah.
And when they use their superpowers, like the realistic version of what would happen, like accidentally chopping some guy in half with your laser vision.
like, oh,
oh shit.
That was my girlfriend. Now she's in half.
yeah, like that
That's
actually
the
did
premise of the entire
happen.
show.
The first show,
First episode, yeah.
It's like a guy standing there, and then
They're about to kiss
the
or-
Flash or whatever blows through his girlfriend, and turns her
literally
into vapor.
mush.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I've never seen this.
That's like the first episode. Is like this guy's girlfriend gets blown up by this rogue.
That he was
superhero.
high. He was like on drugs or something. Yeah.
He's just whipping around and killed her by accident.
yeah. But that was pretty funny.
What about the what I would have done comments? Those are the best.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you could talk about that a little bit.
So it's like, I compare it to the uppercuts people or the shoot people at hockey games. Like, you know when you said it at a hockey game, it's like shoot.
Yeah,
And then it's like, I would have shot there. Yeah, you would have shot. You can't even stop eating. Never mind, you would've shot there. Like,
It's so true. Like
to get up.
backseat drivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like uppercuts people at boxing, it's like that's all they do is yell uppercut.
Yeah.
It's like I would have thrown an uppercut there. It's like, no, you wouldn't, because you got hit 3 times.
Yeah. I'm sure it's the same thing with your cars
Oh,
too.
you guys
Like-
got this
What
kid all the
that's
time.
Oh my
saying,
gosh.
It's like, but the car's like an '88 Sentra that he drives, but he's telling me how he would have done my car.
Yeah, exactly.
And then so many people, like especially the Porsche, was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
because
yes.
like everyone just thinks they're so sacred and it's absolute perfection, and you're like, man, the only reason I did this is because this is like the ugly stepchild to the Porsche community.
The 996.
And then
yes.
now all of a sudden, like when you can buy one. Anybody can buy one. They're not expensive, and that's why I did it to this one, because it's not an overly expensive model. But it's like, as far as these people are concerned, this is like the most sacred Porsche ever created. Like, it's absolute perfection.
Yeah.
And then you look at what they would have, like, I would have done this. I would have, like, buddy, you drive an 88 Sentra. And you ain't doing shit.
Yeah.
Like, just back up a little bit and take it easy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting.
But on the Mercedes, like, sky's the limit. They didn't care.
No, but we're
Other
still
than
getting people that were saying, "Oh, this wing looks blah blah blah," or "This splitter, it was not this," or
Mostly it was just the power plant. They all wanted the
AMG or like the
blah, blah,
yeah.
blah, which is whatever. I've explained all that too, but for the most part, that car is almost legendary now.
Yeah, most people love it.
But the Porsche is
Whoa.
legendary. Yeah. But now it's starting to come around, and
Yeah, I
everybody
think
loves
so.
it. But it was a weird thing. It was a tough month.
Oh yeah. With that said, anything else we want to add before I think we've talked for almost 2 hours this time.
There's so much. There's
so much to talk about.
There's
Yeah.
so many
Such a massive
stories.
impact that it's a lot.
Such a huge part of the business that has nothing to do with like building cars exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think like social media is such an important part of business that if you're not doing it, you're really missing out. I mean, there's
So
so
true.
much to be gained by doing it, but I think social media, you should keep yourself like, keep it authentic. Don't try to like be fake or do it for the wrong reason. Like, whatever your reason is, make sure it's the right reason for doing it. You know, if you're trying to create just entertainment, okay, that's cool. But if you're like a business and you're trying to represent your business, just be authentic about it. And you know what? Accept the hate.
Yeah.
If you do that, then it's a great tool. But if you're not, then it could put you out of business too.
Very true.
Because if you're acting like a jack, you're gonna go out of business just as fast as you got in, because
Yeah.
nobody's coming there. Like,
No.
okay, well, thanks for giving me some insight. I'm out.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't know. I don't think so. Wow,
Sweet.
we could keep talking.
there's
Yeah, I
so,
know.
There's so many like different parts of marketing too that we didn't even
Yeah, we didn't even
touch
get.
on.
We just got into the impact of social media on our lives, but the actual manipulation of social media and how it can affect your business. That's
We'll save that
that's
for another
part two.
podcast.
We
Yeah.
could, yeah.
That's
we,
part two.
We could probably, whatever the comment section has to say about whatever we were talking about, we could probably deep dive into anything.
Yeah.
You know, we
Give us
could
some
go
topics.
anywhere.
Yeah, give us if you have any ideas of what we could talk about next, even relating to social media.
Or marketing.
Just
yeah.
let us know. If you have any interesting stories too, let us know, because we can read them here. And so with that said, thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the podcast, I don't know if you can give it a thumbs up, but subscribe to the podcast so you can watch it next time. And comment again if you want to see more awesome videos, and if you want to see more of us, or Teddy and Sarah and Tim and Robin, myself. So with that said, see you next week. Bye.
Bye.